Come on, guys. This is Legit Alliance Reborn. Go ahead and do a teach and run for running the deep as a warrior. Let me go ahead and check up. Got a full legit run going. So let me go ahead and enter. They're waiting on me. I got cons. So for this run, I never even run cupcakes. Usually you don't need any pecans as a warrior. Go ahead and explain. My shield you see here is actually a dual minus reduction. You don't need that, but that's what I run. As for the weapon set you need, always go room 1 as a tank. So as for the weapon set, what you usually would run here is just an armor plus 5 melee weapon, and then you'll go ahead and run just a stance shield. Make sure your strength is 17, well 16 plus the 1 con set, plus your tactical. So as a warrior, usually you all you got to do is death charge into that first group, and you use your stance, soldier's defense, and I am unstoppable. I'll be sure to post the link below for the what you can use to copy your build you need for running the warrior template. I'll be sure to put that in there. So see resto pops up sometimes too, so it's going to be a res, and this might be a hiccup right here, so it's going to be a little messy. Yep, it usually doesn't go like this, but so for the beginning of tanking, one skill that you definitely need to know is always maintain Defy Pain. The Defy Pain skill you see here, you have to keep that up pretty much majority of the run in order to, one second, add a type, in order to make sure you don't die. So usually if you have a good Necro, they'll knock down Canoxe and kill the group within seconds with Spiteful Spirit. But this time we're actually having a little bit of an issue. So just a little background information on a warrior tank. A lot of people recommend an assassin for beginners just because the fact that you learn the route and it's a lot easier to survive because you have shadow form, obviously. So as a warrior, you actually have to maintain stances. You have to ensure you watch your aggro bubble, and you have to know the proper time to go in when you're tanking. If you don't go in at a proper time, and then let's say your team isn't ready for a spike, then that's going to really hurt your effect for how to type for whenever you go in for your aggro. So otherwise you might die if you don't keep your enchantments up. So this was a little slow at the start. It doesn't always happen. So go ahead and you move like a dwarf if you ever run by the Canoxes. That way you have the cripple effect. I have a cupcake up so I wouldn't die earlier. So usually once you go in, half our team's dead almost. It must be a couple of new people. Anyway, usually as the time you go in for tanking here, you ensure you have your Defy Pain. You use your I'm Unstoppable pretty much periodically as it respawns. It's a relapse time. And I use Soldier's Defense after I am Unstoppable as a shout. Alright, so since you see you pretty much as a tank, crap, I got aggro. I'm running up. Alright, so usually as a tank, you can see exactly where you need to go by the groups that are open. You have 4 rooms in the deep if y'all don't have any kind of experience with this. So basically, you guys got to see which rooms you have open once the roll actually has an effect for you to go in for your area. So me, I saw only room 1 and room 4 open. So that means I went into room 4 because the aggro was clear for them in room 4. See room 2 right now, I'm using tab alt, I see them. So I see that they're already available to come and spike too. So depending on your experience of your team and how well they clear through is going to affect your timing as a tank, as a warrior. Usually once your room's clear, Canoxe is dead in room 1 and you got everything clear, the gate opens as you saw earlier. So another thing I wanted to go through while I have a minute waiting on these guys tanking. For your skills, as a warrior with their armory, really I'll put in the description everything you need, but I'm showing you I have ×5 the Knight's Insignias, Superior Vigor plus 18 health, and then I just run one of the Superior Absorptions for non-stacking, 3 reduced physical damage, and then I run 16 strength, so +3 plus the 1 headpiece for your armor for your strength. And then just 1 tactics is good. You really don't even need that tactics if you run pecons, because you got to have a minimum of 14 tactics for your stances to last 6 seconds. So really 13, because the concept gives you that extra 1, and you usually would use a concept. You can't really tank without one unless you're doing very swift spikes, and it's not recommended. Anyway, so go ahead and maintain your pretty much front line as a tank here. So we're going a little slow start. Sorry about that. We'll catch up. This is probably looking at about 3 minutes behind normal time. So instead of it being a 21 to 22 minute run, it'll probably be a 23, 24 minute run. So we'll see how that goes. The biggest thing here is restoration. We do not have a writ this run, so restoration doesn't always get destroyed. So that makes it a little bit slower as well for our spikes because they continually res. Anyways, a warrior, besides the tanking part here where I went in and I pretty much grouped them up into an area, if all 4 rooms were open at the time, I could have grouped them up all the way in the middle, right where I'm calling target, or I cornered them in any of the rooms depending on which room was open. So the reason I went to room 4 as I did earlier was because of the fact that room 4 was the one open. And room 1 knows to run with the tank once he gets the group aggro. Room 1's never the room to ball up. The reason for that is because the fact of how the aggro works in room 1. It's such a far around room from the rest of the aggro rooms. The room 4 and room 2 and 3 are better aggro rooms. Room 1's aggro bubble is a lot less. So that's the reason you never would want to group up your enemies in that room. Best case scenario for a good team of players, all 4 room gates are open. I usually go straight to room 2 because it's literally to the left of room 1 and go in. So we're going to finish up killing this one, and then I'll go ahead and explain the next part, waiting on them. So another thing here, my energy is 58. That's because I have a cupcake and apple on. Normally it'd be like 30 to 35, so you're going to struggle in energy a little bit. That's why you pretty much you learn to know when to use your skills. You don't just spam click your stances all the time, only when needed. So I'm going to go ahead and recall somebody nearby. So I see Adela nearby, near in this area that knows to put up for it. So I'll go ahead and recall them. But since they have to go res somebody, let me go ahead and do this real quick as well. So as you can see here, I'm pretty much showing you guys the tanking tactics. Regardless of what run you do, you're going to see all variations in this one teaching video to see exactly what your precautions are. So we do have a monk down in here, so I have to go in here and actually tank for Canoxe, which he's dead pretty swiftly this run. So I had to go in there and take the damage. That way the team doesn't get wiped, which it won't from one Canoxe, but you never know. If you have a monk die, that's trying to res the other one. So now, as you can see, I have my recall up on somebody nearby. Usually I recall around here and go in. So you see the time to go in, you see how they're just coming back now. So I have Lion's Comfort as a healing skill in the bar, if you can see. I use that to gain adrenaline plus health. So see how the enemies on the left and right, as I went in, right there towards where I circled, is my actual bubble where the groups will run. They pulled, they weren't supposed to. Anyway, we have Edge of Extinction, so we should be okay. But as for future runs, you'll understand this. So as a warrior, I brought the groups up to here, and then I would immediately, after I get them here, I would death charge in, and all 3 groups would normally ball up right on it. So EOE bomb effect, Edge of Extinction, helps kill this area a little bit more swiftly, so it doesn't really have to worry about if there's an enemy or 2 that's scattered. So the fact that there's a lot of the enemies that were aggroed ahead of time as a party, this is one thing that's really aggravating as a tank. You can't always do your jobs 100% proper just because of the fact that you're going to have some party members going in aggro, such as you saw there. I was trying to show you exactly what you do. But anyway, I'll go ahead and do a rerun because you'll be waiting on the team anyway. So let's say I recalled. So I recalled them. I have recall up. I never recalled out because they aggroed. So I'm going in. You have a group up here that's going to go back. So right where you see this little sack pad here is right where the aggro is going to pick up on the left, right, and where you are. So after that, you're going to go ahead and walk backwards if you have a cupcake, or just run forward if you don't, and walk sideways and such, and you pretty much swivel. Make sure you don't get stuck. You don't have Hoss, or Heart of Shadow or anything. So say there's an enemy where that one's about to die. Right here's where I got him. So I put up a stance, and I call a target around where I'm pointing in a circle, and I'll death charge to that target. I have no energy right now, but I would death charge to that target. So right where I'm standing, it'll be about a perfect spot where 90% of the mobs will be perfectly grouped up on me. So that's pretty much the most efficient way to group up everything at once. Some tanks would run them down past the Spirit and Dervish wall block here, but I've just learned over time that extra 15-20 seconds difference just by going in and death charging in instead of walking back. Because what happens is some teams on the left and right side, those Leviathan mines, end up not following, and they end up running back breaking aggro or not even coming towards the aggro, so they don't even group up. So basically, as a tank, there's going to be a lot of waiting time, especially in deep, because you wait on the damage, depending on how strong your damage is and all of that. So let me get some water. All right, so as you can see here now, the team is pretty much ready to recall. Well, I typed it wrong. Usually as a warrior, or even a tank period, you recall a monk because they never recall. So I typed recalled them, so they know I recalled, let me handle you. So the monk knows that I have a recall in them now. So we're waiting on that monk to run up. All right, now I recall out since I know he's in range. See, now everybody with recall, everybody that had recall on me automatically recalled out as well. So that's the way you do that. You have 5 people that have to open that deep trigger gate. So I was on one of the pads that triggered it. You needed 4 others to stand on that trigger. So after I recalled out and the others recalled me, since I was the tank at the middle pad, usually the monk I recalled, I ensure they know. That way communication's key. I'll recall out, and now I'm in here tanking the group. Whether they're hitting me or not, at least I'm taking some form of effect of taking a hit. Most of the time, the aggro goes towards the lowest health or the lowest armor rating for the party member, so you won't always be attacked first. But for the most part, you still want to be up front, always as a warrior tank. So that definitely benefits you there. So now we're going to go ahead and let them level up. Oh, we got a Mesmer behind. So y'all are going to see pretty much a really slow run. So y'all see full effect of what a tank does. All right, so here now, as you can see, I'm going to go in. I go ahead and use my Lion's Comfort, maintain my Defy Pain. I pop my first one, Shield Stance. Why? Because I don't need Adrenaline, and Shield Stance gives me extra armor compared to the actual soldier's defense, just because of the way the skill effect works. So I went to the left side and the right side. See how the groups are going over. I use Shield Stance again, Defy Pain again. That way we know the groups are grouping up. And I use soldier's defense when I have the energy, and see how they grouped up perfectly. So I told them to seed and spike. So I basically, as a warrior, you're calling the whole run. So pretty much the whole run, you see how they seeded me? That healed the party plus me as well. Healing seed or seed of life, that keeps me alive. So now I just grouped them up all in one group. All I did, I'll recap while they're killing. I ran in, I went to the side, I aggroed all 3 groups, I ran to the right side, I walked backwards until I saw this group on the left come up. They ran to the middle here, and then I went to the left side and ran up, and they all followed. And they all cycle, and right where that death hand just died is where all of them spawned. So now we're going to go ahead and kill the sappings. So basically, as a sapping group whole, since there's a lot of aggro, they don't know that some people aren't paying attention. But basically, see how I cornered them right here. I have a lot of armor, so they won't really kill me. Plus, if you have the money, try to get a dual minus inherent. So I have -3 while hexed and -2 stance. We did that because we have to res that that Mesmer right there, overpower. So we got that one that resed up. Now we are 13 minutes in, so we're about 5 minutes behind right now. Normally you'd be at 7 or 8 minutes here for a casual, normal full clear, but instead we're not. So a couple people holding us back. All right, so the next part, once I pretty much grouped the sappings, they res. Now I'm going in here. I always, as a tank, as the leader, you usually would draw a line where they don't go because you never know if there's some new people. And hopefully I don't get stuck. Nope, I didn't. See how I'm using my stances as I go in? So they're going to follow me. I looped around. I keep my stances. I am unstoppable is crucial here. Use it right when they start attacking you. Otherwise, they're going to cripple you when you're running back. See, I'm about to get crippled maybe. Right here, I didn't get crippled, but usually you get crippled if you waited too long. So now they're going to spike that out. That's how you do it. Don't get stuck. Don't get way up in here. I'll show you again. Don't run way up where I'm circling called area right now. You want to make sure you don't go too deep, otherwise you're going to cause too much of an aggro bubble. So if you cause too much of an aggro bubble, then they might collide around you, and then they'll kill you. So here you got to keep stances up. See how the Rangers are here? I type run because some people might not know, hey, is it good to go? Keep defy pain. See how I'm using soldiers defense, and I'm unstoppable to gain my adrenaline. As I'm running, I use my stances so I don't die. I end up blocking majority of it. As a warrior, you have a lot of armor compared to an assassin, like an extra 80 or 100 armor. So that's why I always liked warrior. Plus, as an assassin, you're not going to call a target. I mean, you're not going to call a target. You're not going to be casting as much as an assassin with a warrior. So as a warrior, you don't have to cast ever really, besides that recall. Every other skill you can cast as you run. So it's pretty straightforward as far as what exactly you do with maintaining the skills once you get it down and packed. So what I would suggest for new guys that have never done this and they're worried about tanking first time is just go on a run as a damage roll and a monk or a necker or something, and just learn the route and understand exactly what's going on. Watching a tank do it. But this is pretty much has worked best for my tactics as a warrior. So now we're going to direct traffic. We're running to the left side, hugging this area to kill Canoxe. So we got a KD Canoxe here as we run. I usually move like a Dorfin ones, but since they had a couple others that had it already on him, I just run through. So I got the team. I led them to that area. Now I'm just constantly running. I usually pop a cupcake here just because I like to break the outcast aggro if I pick it up right here to the left. Otherwise, I might die. See how Canoxe just spawned? So I use my stances and I run to this corner with a cupcake, and 80% of the time they break. Yep, see how they broke. If you didn't have a cupcake, you wouldn't have broke there. Now you saw how I went up. I ran to that little spot right there where I crossed the line, and I popped the Canoxe aspect speak line. So after he spoke, the Onis usually start running around. There's one group of Onis that do not come towards the tank unless you spawn the Canoxe voice. So once I spawn the Canoxe voice, I am pretty much standing in this corner, as you can see, maintaining my stances, using soldiers defense, and I am unstoppable. And then I maintain defy pain. And now I wait for the groups to ball up. So sometimes as a warrior, you might not know if somebody's new or not. So I just typed EOE on stairway. That way the ranger knows to put EOE up. Now we're waiting on EOE. Go ahead and spike. See, EOE's in range. So I called target to spike. I spam target because some people don't realize, hey, it's time to spike unless you're spamming. They're like, why are you spamming? So EOE, see the bomb effect? There, we just killed most of them. So now we finish off. So I usually kill this group just because of safety. It's annoying when you have teammates running and then end up dying, so you had to run back to res anyway. So instead, just guide the team as a tank. They're going to follow the tank because the tank is the one taking most of the damage. They're not going to want to run ahead while the tank's sitting here waiting. So kill these outcasts before you run on. You're not here for damage, you're here for tanking. But in a sense, I'm still attacking just because I do a little bit of damage. But also, people know, hey, we need to kill these. You don't have to kill them if you're a good enough team. So now we're going to go ahead and run. So I put up run, that way they know to run. So we are going to run across here. Normal, a good team will run and they won't even kill those outcasts, but just as my expertise, I've learned best. It's not best to run until after. See, one already died, two died. Monk's about to die, maybe, it looks like it. So I just type UA. I stand in this corner as we run. I'm waiting on them to res. Hopefully they seed me. And nobody has it, so I'm going to scroll. Always bring scrolls is other words. So I'm glad that just happened. That way y'all know for future runs. See how I use a scroll. Both monks were down. That's when the tank's as a objective is to pop a scroll, especially in the middle of that area. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell them to run on. We have no writ, so it's got to be fast paced, meaning we just keep moving and we kill the Onis as we go. But as a tank, I don't stop. When there's no writ, usually they writ pops spirits here and at the bridges. But with no writ tank, you got to keep on moving. Um, Depending on if you have dervs. If you have no dervishes in the party, you're gonna want to tank each group. But see, I have derv specialist woman here, so she's gonna go ahead and tank them, and then I'm gonna just DC in. I have a cupcake. I'm gonna break. Well, I'm gonna break. I have a cupcake. They'll break me immediately. So I just type UE each bridge, a little typo there. And I'm gonna go ahead and run on. So I just keep on moving here. Since we have no writ, there's no reason for me to stay back. I am unstoppable only when you're crippled. I had cripple earlier and then I used I am unstoppable. So since I'm gonna be a tank friendly run here, teach you guys this part. Instead of running on without skipping, skipping these zones, walk backwards and yep, right here. So you see how I walk backwards and they stop right there. Some runs it doesn't do that. Some runs the Onis will actually run back towards the group at the bridge because they aggro. But see how perfect that spike was? Because you have to splinter on an EOE with the Dervish. So that worked great. Wait, no EOE that one. Just favorable wins. So last group, depending on how far back the group is, you see no spirits or no sappings, necros, back aggro at the bridges. You have plenty of time. See how they're stunning circled right there? They're coming now. You have plenty of time. So EOE is up. You're ready to spike. Even if they're scattered, watch. The off damage should work great to where everything will make a bomb effect. See how they're, yep, right there. You can tell everything just, since you made a bomb effect with Edge of Extinction. Now as you move like a dwarf just as a finisher skill, that's your only damage skill. Now I'm just going to run in, circle around these sappings. The biggest thing I want to mention here, guys, is people wonder, well, you're a warrior. How do you not die? So you got to maintain Defy Pain. The way I went in, I death charged that group over there. If you saw, look back on the video. I death charged that group. I have I am unstoppable up. I'm using soldier's defense anytime I have 5 energy. Anytime you have 5 energy, soldier's defense, and I am unstoppable. I remade I am unstoppable. So I remade I am unstoppable in soldier's defense. So now let's go ahead. I'm typing go spike so people know to spike. It's going to be a little messy here, it's looking like. We shall see. Yep, we got it. We're doing great. But basically, I didn't die there. Y'all saw exactly how I did it. I maintained I am unstoppable in soldier's defense anytime I have the energy. You're going to lose your energy. Don't attack. But when you gain it back, that's the thing. They won't take your energy out until you hit like 8 or 9 energy. So by the time you get that 5 to 7, use I am unstoppable. When you get to 5 to 7 again, use soldier's defense while I am unstoppable's up. That's how you will pick up your soldier's defense. You don't need a staff unless emergencies. So we have some enemies behind. I'm too focused on teaching instead of waiting on others. They're holding us back. So this run ain't going to be a record run or anything. It's going to be a casual. We're at 22 minutes when we should be at like 14, 15. So we're like 6, 7 minutes behind now. It'll be okay though. All right, so now that I held that, see how I held that Canoxe? As a good tank, you are always putting your teammates before yourself. You're not worried about running ahead. You're worrying about making sure that the Canoxe ain't going to kill your teammates. So now I don't have enough energy, so I have a staff I just popped. That gives me plus 10 energy. That way I can go in without waiting on my energy. The tank is not going to be the one holding the bottleneck in this run. I'm not going to make sure that I'm the one that everybody's waiting on. So see how I did that? I'll explain it. I just recalled the nearest target, just plus V or something. V goes to the nearest ally. And I ran up to this edge, and then I death charged to Canoxe right there. Right when I hit the edge, I death charged Canoxe. If you don't death charge immediately, you're going to end up screwing up the run. Because what's going to happen is the Canoxe is going to want to loop around. So then if you don't death charge immediately, you need to run back and redo it again. Otherwise, you're in good shape with that. So we are killing these Onis since we're waiting on the teammates to come. So it's a little far behind, which is fine. At least the tank's ahead. That's your biggest thing. Feel proud for yourself as a tank to keep up ahead of the team the whole time. That's your number one goal, keeping up ahead of the team. You don't ever need to be behind the monks. The monks should be in the back. If you're behind the monks, then you're not keeping up. As a warrior, you don't ever have to cast skills, so there's no excuses. Unless you're dying. And if you're dying, that's because the monks aren't doing their job. As a warrior, that's why I said I recommend assassin. Assassin, you won't die hardly ever because you have perma shadow form, and then you have shroud and healing skills. So you heal yourself. Warriors, there's no healing skills. Besides, in my bar I made, I use Lion's Comfort. That's my only healing skill, and that's only going to heal me 118, and that's not enough. I mean, if it was like 250 or something, that'd be great. But I'm sure you can modify the tank build to more than one way. But for what this is, it's getting the job done. So I'm using a couple of honeycombs. Jeez, I just used 8 of them. People don't have health. So a lot of people might not know I usually lead runs a lot, so I always type as I tank. I'm not typing a lot this run, just the fact that because I'm talking to you guys that are my viewers, so I'm trying to teach y'all. So here's a warrior. I didn't do anything. All I do is run around with the team. We skip the Onis because it's just a wasted area to kill. I don't see a reason to kill them. We've never done that because it's only like maybe 150 faction. So I'm just going in taking aggro from the Onis as we do it. We not do it, we kill them. All right, so now after I got here, we got everybody grouped up. My death charge is recharging. I'm gonna call target once I death charge. So I'm gonna death charge right now. I'm unstoppable, then I death charge, then I soldier's defense. Now I have defy pain. Just like that fast. If you don't make that sequence, you're gonna die. You need soldier's defense, I'm unstoppable, and then defy pain. Instantly comes because all the melee is attacking you. If you read soldier's defense, it gives you the shouts. I meant the adrenaline gain. That's the reason you use it first. Otherwise, you wouldn't benefit. Got me another gold. So just on the side note, while I'm waiting on some of the team, Zodiac weapons require 9 are really the most rare items you can get in the deep. So that's like the most valuable items that you'll find when you farm here. Oni blades or Zodiac weapons of all types. All right, so now here, I draw a line so people don't come. Now, this is where you're going to need a staff as well. I use the staff, or if you have a cupcake, I'll show you the cupcake way. But imagine a cupcake and staff the same. So I'm going to death charge. I'm unstoppable. And soldier's defense. I need him to attack me. Yep, he attacked me. All right, see how I have 0 energy. I'm unstoppable up. He's not going to knock me down. I pop a cupcake. You move like a dwarf him the second time. That's how you do the double KD. So I went in. You move like a dwarf him. I death charged, and that gave me a little bit of health. And then I ran in and knocked him down the first time with you move like a dwarf. And then you wait for about 7 seconds, and then you move like a dwarf recharges again, and then you lock him down again. You're not going to have 10 energy for that second one. That's why you have a cupcake or a staff. See, watch. I'm going to do the staff also so you can see. All right, so I'm popping a staff. Watch this. See how they're trying to kill me? You got to keep moving if you use a staff. Otherwise, those chaos storms are going to kill you. That's the reason as a staff you don't recommend unless you're really good at this, because you got to keep moving, otherwise they're going to kill you. I'll try it again just for fun. I pop a staff. See how I went 11 energy? I usually move like a dwarf. Imagine that being Canoxe. That's why you do that second knockdown. So now that they killed him, I'm going to call target. I'm waiting on this corner. This is the best area to wait for the derv to spike. All right, so I'm saying bye to camera. We're done. Thank you all for the run. That's pretty much it. And that's pretty much the gist of tanking as a warrior. So basically that sense is I'll be posting the templates below. I'll be posting the weapons you need, the armor, and that's really all you're going to need besides the video for pretty much the guide on what to do. If y'all have any questions for this tanking warrior build, or what kind of questions you'll have in sense of what needed to be done in a certain area in the deep, just get with me, the Reborn Monk, on Guild Wars, or comment below, and I'll be feel free to answer y'all's questions. So this was a 27-minute run, a little slower than normal for a casual this non-speed clear deep run. I hope I taught y'all some stuff today. Thanks for watching. This is legit Guild Alliance run, and hope y'all had a good time. Later.